There we go. Boom, you're live. Good morning and welcome everybody to the Crypto Mining Show, your one-stop shop for all cryptocurrency news from the perspective of a cryptocurrency miner. Today we have a new release of Gminer version 2.85. We'll take a look at the patch notes for that. We also have AMD and NVIDIA GPUs at the lowest prices, well, since pretty much ever at this point. We also have more details on the 3090 Ti release date. We're looking at stock on Micro Center as well. We have reports that RTX 4000 series, the basically Ada Lovelace, is going to be having essentially its own version of Infinity Cache that's been used in the 6000 series for AMD. We also have the miner Hive over in North Texas buying Intel miner chips. They say that this is going to raise their hash rate by 95%. So let's get details on that. And then we'll be talking about the crypto mining profitability. I've been solo mining now for 3 days on Ethereum Classic. We're going to look about how much money I lost doing that with the whole farm. And then we're going to talk about some other caveats and issues with Ethereum Classic as it pertains to liquidation. But before we get into it, here's a word from today's sponsor, which is yours truly. Today's sponsor is myself. To support the channel, click the join button below the video and you will get access to our privately hosted Rocket Chat. Selecting the $1.99 option will get you access, and after that you need to head over to the membership tab, scroll down, and expand out your membership perks. Find the section for connecting on social media, and in that section there will be a secret registration URL to join Rocket Chat, where you can sign up to enjoy talking with other cryptocurrency enthusiasts and miners without spammers, scammers, or bots. All right, and welcome back. I am showing audio working fine here. I'll confirm with you guys since we have a couple reports in live stream. And then I'm going to unmute and check real quick. I don't know. Everything seems golden. Everything seems golden. So let's hop into the first one for today. We have a new release from Gminer. It released yesterday on Sunday here. Version 2.85. They added toncoinpool.io support. So if you were looking at using Gminer for Toncoin and you wanted that specific pool, then kudos to you. You can do it now. That's it. They're turning into Team Black Miner over here at Gminer. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the big topic for today regarding GPU pricing coming from WCCF Tech. AMD Radeon and NVIDIA GeForce GPU prices hit new low as availability improves, now selling at 30 to 45% over MSRP. The latest market pricing and availability report for AMD Radeon and NVIDIA GeForce GPUs has been shared by 3D Center, showcasing that prices have hit a new low as availability continues to improve. The latest report shows that the prices have reached the same level or better than the start of 2021, but with far better availability than it was last year. The AMD Radeon graphics card are currently priced at an average of 35% over MSRP, and that's a drop from 45% last month, while the NVIDIA GeForce graphics cards are priced at 41% MSRP versus the last month's 57% price hike. Now, we do have this chart. We've looked at this chart before, and as you can see, we're going down. Down, down, down. But it's not just the prices that have improved. As you can see from the monthly chart shared by 3D Center, the availability of GPUs in the respective graphics cards is now at its best since the start of 2021 and continues to improve. Almost every store in the EU and even North American markets are now stocked with graphics cards in good numbers. In Europe particularly, almost all stores are stocked with graphics cards in good quantities, which means that the only issue is that as of right now is the prices, and that, as mentioned above, seems to be improving too. Now that's an interesting note because, as a lot of you guys have brought to my attention in chat and comments and Twitter, etc., you have huge price hikes in the cost of power in the UK. So I would almost expect it, if, you know, we're talking about GPU miners buying up all the GPUs, to, you know, stay in stock, because at this point, GPU mining, with the threat of the merge on Ethereum, plus the power costs and the reduction in profitability, means that it's going to be a lot less likely for people to start mining in that area. In the US, depending on where you live, this can be a lot different, of course, as like Texas has lower power costs as compared to something like California or New York, etc. So it's really going to be kind of interesting to see, because like, if I take a look at essentially stock for GPUs in Texas, specifically like micro centers where you can usually find stock pretty easily, it's still a little sparse when we're talking about like a GPU mineable or a mining card that doesn't have light hash rate, right? Like the 3090 at 2229 has one in stock, whereas something with light hash rate here in Houston, Asus 3080 Ti, 17 in stock at 1899.99. Now, a couple strategies here that you could go with, of course, just kind of throwing it out there, is maybe betting or playing the bet on the light hash rate 100% unlock, which I know a lot of people have done. Specifically, Pro Direct Mining has been taking that bet, which is interesting. And I don't know, you could still go out and buy 3080 Ti's, and that's about it. But you have maybe some 6600s in here, really not getting down to the price that I think a lot of people are comfortable with. I think the best priced one was $439. Yeah, $439. But they do have two open box at $373.96 as well. So that's a little bit better in Houston, for example. So it's coming around. There's definitely stock. You can definitely go out and start building mining rigs. 6600 rigs seem to be the easiest to build, right? You're getting essentially 30 mega hash a second at the best power efficiency, and they're in stock, and you can get them for like $430. We'll have to see if this gets lower and lower as we move on. Of course, AMD's retail pricing, one of the things that I was going to mention that's a little odd is AMD's retail pricing is above what they should probably be around, which is why, as they show like a 30, at 35% over MSRP, they're still price to performance seeming to be a little bit more expensive than the NVIDIA counterparts here and there. So just keep that in mind. Let's talk about the 3090 Ti flagship graphics card. Allegedly launches on the 29th of March. They did cancel the RTX 3070 Ti. Reports from Chip Hell forums seem to provide the latest update on NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 3090 Ti and 3070 Ti 16GB graphics cards. The NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090 Ti graphics card was teased back in CES of 2022, and the company stated that more information will be coming later that same month. Fast forward 3 months, and we still haven't heard anything from NVIDIA regarding its flagship graphics card, and rumors remain are the best bet at knowing what's happening behind the scenes and the causes for the indefinite delay. Now, like I said, what they were trying to do is increase that memory bandwidth overall, but the memory speed specifically on the 3090 Ti. And as such, I think that they're probably having some cooling issues going on, because even the 3090 struggles at 19 gigabits per second. But the delay is attributed to both the supply of the flagship Ampere GA102 GPU dies and the PCB components. Based on the previous reports, the GeForce RTX 3090 Ti is going to utilize the PG136C PCB, which is an updated version of the RTX 3090 Founders Edition design. According to the latest rumor, NVIDIA is still facing some issues with the memory dies, and they are being replaced. We don't know what The specific issue is, but the graphics card will feature the fastest GDDR6X dies ever produced with the transfer rates of up to 21 gigabits per second, and that too in dual capacity configurations, 2 gigabyte capacity versus 1 gigabyte. We aren't sure, you know, what's going on. It's overheating, bro. It's overheating. It's throttling like a motherfucker. That's what's happening, okay? That, along with the compliance towards the new PCIe Gen 5 standard, means that NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090 Ti will be a totally different beast compared to the 3090 non-Ti. But all of these changes have resulted in major delays, something which even NVIDIA didn't expect. Now it looks like the card is rumored to launch on the 29th of March, which is the end of this month, and will be just in time before AMD refreshes its own RDNA 2 RX 6000 graphics card lineup with a brand new flagship, the 6950 XT, next month. And we're supposed to be getting faster memory speeds on those as well. Not the 21 gigabits per second, but I believe it's the 18. Is that correct? From the 16? Something like that. I have to go look again. Besides the GeForce RTX 3090 Ti, the rumor also states that NVIDIA has now more or less canceled its 16 gigabyte GeForce RTX 3070 Ti graphics card. The 16 gigabyte offering was indeed real based on the data we have seen, but it looks like NVIDIA doesn't seem to see that big of a demand for the variant, and we'll just wait for the next gen parts to replace it when they hit shelves around rumored September 2022 launch. And like, to be fair, the 3070 Ti is, from a power to performance standpoint, not only in crypto mining, but in gaming as well, kind of the worst card in the 3000 series, in my experience so far. So, you know, that doesn't surprise me. I don't think that there would be huge demand for it either. You're better off bumping up to a 3080 or, of course, you know, bumping down maybe just to the 3070 and you get better power to performance, which makes a lot of sense. I had a long night. We had kiddo nightmares and I fell asleep in that bed and my back hurts. So bear with me, guys. I gotta stretch it out. Oh, yeah. All right. So we have more leaks on Ada Lovelace. Of course, we're getting all the good leaks thanks to that hack, I think is pretty much why. But this one's pretty cool. We are seeing essentially Infinity Cash. Now, for mining, from a mining perspective, Infinity Cash for an AMD has not been leveraged. I don't know if it ever will be leveraged. We definitely don't know if the NVIDIA version is different enough to maybe be leveraged more for mining. But what we're seeing is a possible Infinity Cash from NVIDIA, Infinity Cash type technology, which from my perspective is pretty cool. Let's talk about it. Coming from videocards.com, GeForce RTX 40 Ada GPUs to feature very large L2 caches, NVIDIA's own Infinity Cache. While the company is still trying to figure out how the hackers gained so much information, the data that was already posted provides significant information on NVIDIA's next architecture codenamed Ada. There you go, Ada Lovelace. So, NVIDIA RTX 40 GPUs will be equipped with up to 96 megabytes of L2 cache and up to 90, which is up to 90 megabytes more than the Ampere RTX GPUs. This is the latest information that has been discovered in the files that were leaked last week. The data, excuse me, I still got some stuff in my throat. Let me sip of water. All right. The data supposedly confirms that Ada GPUs would have 16 megabytes of cache per 64-bit memory bus, significantly more than Ampere with 512 kilobytes per 32-bit memory. According to this information, the flagship Ada GPU, codenamed 8102, would have 96 megabytes of cache. 8103 and 104 would be getting 64 megabytes each, while the 8106 and 107 would be equipped with 48 megabytes and 32 megabytes respectively. New leaked information combined with insights from reliable NVIDIA leaker Copite7Kimi have been detailed enough for this proposed GPU block diagram to be confirmed for the upcoming 8102 GPU. It is said that this chip would have a die size of 600 millimeters squared, about just as big as the GA102. The RTX 40 GPUs will be getting up to 71% more cores than the 30 series GPUs, but that's assuming each chip will see its full implementation released to the market. Naturally, there are still many things that are not clear, such as the clock speeds and power requirements for new cards. But it is quite obvious that RTX 40 GPUs will be a significant upgrade over Ampere. The same architectural leap as is expected from AMD RDNA 3 GPUs. So you can see here essentially the memory bus width, which we've talked about before. The only new kind of thing that we're finding out about is the amount of L2 cache, which is pretty high. As you can see here on like a 3090, you're talking about 6 megabytes of L2 cache, while on the 4090, potentially 96 megabytes of cache. The information on large L2 caches has been first reported by Xeno Assassin, and that was on Twitter. Ada will have huge L2, and then here is the screenshot. It's a little blurry as far as the screenshot goes from there, so we'll sneak into here, and there you go. So was it 60 megabytes per? Yep. All right, cool. So links in the description if you want to look into it more. From a mining perspective, like I said, this probably isn't going to affect anything. From the gaming perspective, it definitely is going to help. What we've seen, of course, with Infinity Cache and its ability to basically improve your traditional rasterization, especially at lower frame rates, let's say like 1080p, it's very good. The 6900 XT in most cases with traditional rasterization is 15% better than the 6900 XT, and that has a significantly smaller memory bus, so the cache is definitely helping out there from that perspective. It'll be cool to see how NVIDIA implements it. Of course, we're still, from the mining perspective, worried about a lot of things with the 40 series. The power consumption, the power standards being moved to the Gen 5, all of that is way up in the air. It may make them completely pointless to mine on without light hash rate even being a factor. Crypto miner Hive to buy Intel mining chip that can raise hash rate by 95%, coming from CoinDesk. The miner also signed a new 100 megawatt power deal with Compute North in Texas. Crazy. Hive blockchain agreed to buy Intel's new mining chips. I was like, no, these aren't on, right? Intel's new mining chips in a deal the crypto miner said could increase its aggregate Bitcoin mining hash rate by as much as 95% from 1.9 exahash per second. Hive said an original design manufacturer, ODM, will incorporate the Intel chips into an air-cooled Bitcoin mining system. The system is expected to be delivered over a period of 12 months starting in the second half of 2022. Intel's energy-efficient and high-performance blockchain accelerator is expected to reduce our power consumption over current ASIC miners on the market, Hive president and COO Aidan Killick said in a statement. Intel revealed the details of the first generation of its mining chip, which failed to match current rivals, at a semiconductor conference in February. Remember, it was really bad. It was really, really bad. It was like 40 terahash a second at 3,400 watts, which is like half of the efficiency of anything else on the market. But BMZ2 is supposed to be much better. So, however, it is the second generation that will be shipped to Hive, as well as peers Grid, Argo Blockchain, and Block, formerly Square, later this year. On February 28th, Grid said that Intel's second generation mining machine, Bonanza Miner 2, will be the second most efficient on the market with a hash rate of 135 terahash a second at an electricity efficiency of 26 joules per terahash. Vancouver, Canada-based Hive also signed a deal with Compute North to deploy 100 megawatts of miners at a Texas facility run by renewable energy. Boom, boom, boom. Crazy. So what are we seeing? The miners aren't stopping, are they? Well, at least the ASIC miners aren't stopping. The Bitcoin miners are not stopping. They're not slowing down. Can't stop, won't stop. This is good news as far as for the market. It's definitely like everybody's still bullish on not only cryptocurrency, but mining in general. And cutting these long-term deals definitely proves that. This is a very expensive deal as well. Does that translate over into the GPU mining market? And I think that is something to point out. Like we talked about last week, essentially we saw Hut 8 moving into like gaming in some form or fashion, and cloud data, basically cloud gaming, to basically, I guess, hedge a bet in case, you know, the GPU mining goes away. And as we see more and more GPUs come onto the market and stay on shelves, there definitely seems to be, at least from the institutional money, a reduction in the increase of size of mining farms for GPUs specifically. Now, the reason that makes more sense is, like, to give you an idea, we have also basically, for the home miners, it has to hit the shelves, but the home miners have to save up and buy them. Typically, if it's not even hitting the shelves, then you know the institutional investors for the GPU mining are investing. That's kind of the thought process. But caveat to that, as we mentioned last week as well, we're seeing the most amount of GPU production since Q2 of 2018 this quarter. So everything's looking good as far as production goes for GPUs. Prices are coming down, and it may be a viable thing to take a look at. We're just going to have to see. Let's go ahead and get into my mining journey. We last week essentially got into a situation where we decided to go ahead and solo mine Ethereum Classic. And basically, to give you guys an idea, that turned into a whole bunch of people solo mining Ethereum Classic. And that reduced my rewards potential significantly. I don't know if some people caught on. It seemed like some did. It was at the end of the show on Friday. And so, is it looking good? Well, I'm going to show you guys, and it doesn't look like it's looking good, right? So here's my Ethereum Classic dashboard. In the last 3 days, so essentially we started Friday at 11 a.m. We have another hour here. So potentially it could be, if we hit another block in the next hour, we could have, you know, maybe a little bit more. But we have found 3 blocks. So for the past 3 days, we have essentially, you know, mined $90 per day, right? And so how does that compare if we took the same hash rate and moved it over to Ethereum on a pool, for example? Well, you know, was it 54.75 average over the past 24 hours? I've been working on some stuff at the farm, but if we calculate that out, or even on Ethereum Classic, right? So if we were on Ethereum specifically, we'd be doing $208 a day on the farm. And then on Ethereum Classic, even, we would be $40 a day over what we are making solo mining currently. So it didn't work out. We tried. Now I do today have to swap back to Ethereum because at this point, it's essentially, I got to pay the bills. So the power bill is going to come up. We talked about this on Friday, and I said, you know, I'll give it 3 days. We'll see how it goes. And then we got to kick over. It's not all a loss, right? But I will also mention this. So one of the things that this experience did provide me with is a few more details on the difficulty of liquidation for Ethereum Classic. So the best bet would be to obviously mine to your own wallet and then find some place to convert it, because if you try to directly send Ethereum Classic to pretty much anything, they have really high confirmation requirements. So here, as you can see, I actually have the how to deposit crypto into your crypto.com app. And here's the thing. For Ethereum Classic, it's 40,000 confirmations. The first block we mined was on Friday. We actually got the first block on Friday. And it's at 15,000 confirmations right now. So we're not even halfway through. So the projected amount of time for those confirmations to go through for a deposit from now is another 6.5 days. So it takes 9.5 days for you to get Ethereum Classic deposited into your crypto.com account. That makes it really difficult to liquidate in that form. So what I'm going to do is look at what the other options are. Of course, there's Coinbase, which I think is a little bit better for Ethereum Classic and specifically. Definitely just keep that in mind. This is going to be a problem across the board. It doesn't really matter what coins you pick, right? Like we've talked about Flux and how to liquidate that on this channel. There's a video and the process I went through for that. It's not great. It just isn't. The Zelcore wallet makes it a little bit easier for swapping to Litecoin. The fees can be a little bit lower, but you're getting killed. You're getting killed on miner fees. You're getting killed on operating system fees. You're getting killed on network fees. You're just like, it's non-stop. Like it's fee after fee after fee after fee after fee. At least right now with Ethereum, you do have plenty of options like 2Miners Polygon. You have Bitcoin and Nano payouts on 2Miners, sorry. Ethermine Polygon. You have Flexpool Polygon. If you wanted to do Binance Smart Chain, you have Crazy Pool, which is what I've been doing a lot lately. Zero fees on that one. There's just a lot better options for Ethereum. And as we get closer to the merge, especially for miners, whoever can get essentially the best liquidation options, I think as a network is going to have the biggest potential for hash rate to move over, because a lot of this difficulty of just like, look, if you got to wait 10 days, maybe that's not the end of the world, but you know, we're going to have like 10 days to wait for $90 and then we got however many of those transactions in. If you have like a bill coming up, something like that for the farm, it just makes it a little bit more difficult, especially as we get into basically more, I guess, because I don't know what kind of market we're in right now, but as the profitability goes down, your margins get skinnier, and therefore like waiting 10 days for each deposit can be problematic there. And I just thought that it was important to bring that up. So the other thing that we're doing is I'm solo mining Flux right now with the 1063 gig rig. We stood it up Saturday night. And so it's at 210 solutions a second. There's 7 1063 gigs in there. It reports a lot lower than that hash rate. I think we're getting like 22 to 24 solutions a second, depending on the GPU. I did have 8 GPUs in there, but I have one EVGA GPU that is overheating no matter what I do with the thermal paste or anything. So I'm going to kind of take that card and try to figure out, maybe troubleshoot it and do a video on it. It's very interesting. But right now, I just threw it on solo because I already had the flight sheet going. But we will more than likely be moving it over to the regular Flux pool here on Miner Pool and get some Flux payouts from the 1063 gigs. Now, I have been advised, somebody said that they were getting 60 mega hash a second on the 1063 gig on Ergo. I have not confirmed that. I'm going to look at that, because if that's true, you would get much better payouts on Ergo than you would be mining Flux. But they do pretty good on Flux. So there's kind of that whole rundown. So all right. let's look at what to mine. We're going to go ahead and click on that 3090 and calculate it out. And then we're going to go ahead and update that Zell hash to the 110. And we have Ethereum for the 3090 at $3.57 a day after power. For Flux, we have $2.39 a day after power. Conflux at $2.12 a day after power. Cero at $2.09 a day after power. Ethereum Classic at $1.95 a day after power. And then it kind of just goes down from there. Now, interesting to note, Flux mining directly is now more profitable than Flux mining through NiceHash. So the solo mining is probably calming down. The solo NiceHash rental mining is probably calming down on the Flux network. It's definitely become more profitable here just recently. So what that means is we kind of want to take a look at the 2080 Ti, which has historically outperformed Ethereum on Flux, and it's almost back there. So unfortunately, due to the power consumption, you're still making more US dollar on Ethereum after power. That being said, technically they're neck and neck. Flux and Ethereum are both doing $2.10 a day in revenue before power. So interesting note there. We'll have to see how that plays out. We can go ahead and start looking at mining pool statistics. We'll start with Flux since it's fresh on the brain, because I do want to see if we're seeing any sort of huge spikes here in solo mining, and it does not look like it. So as I stated before, it does look like those spikes have not happened here. The last one was on the 5th, which was 2 days ago. So Zell hash is not getting rented out as much as it was. Remember, we were seeing quite a few spikes on solo pools. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, and we will talk about my miner as well here in a second too. But looks like we've had a spike back up over 200 exahash. So we're at 203 exahash. Difficulty is going back up. So the network is recovering as far as Bitcoin goes. Take a look at Ethereum, see if it's still at that petahash. Still right at 1 petahash for Ethereum right now. So no big changes. Take a look at Ergo. Ergo's at 13.77 terahash a second. Nothing too crazy. Same issues with those 3 pools down there. And boom, we want Ravencoin. Let's see if Ravencoin is settling in. It was at that under, yeah, so it's still staying under 4 terahash a second. Consistently, it's dropping down in difficulty here as of recent. I do hear winds of basically, if you actually go to mine it with efficient cards, that it's more profitable, and a lot of people aren't realizing it. I don't know how true that is though, but it's what I've been hearing through the grapevine. Now, this did spike up too, so I wanted to show you guys the Ethereum Classic solo pool had previously, and this isn't a great view, it won't show me, huh? So it had previously spiked up to 370 gigahash a second. It's back down to 250 gigahash a second now. So there you go. Let's take a look at mining pool profits for the day. Last 90 days, mining pool hub in first, flex pool in second, crazy pool in third. Last 60 days, flex pool in first, mining pool hub in second, crazy pool in third. Last 30 days, mining pool hub in first, ZET in second, and flex pool in third. Last 21 days, mining pool hub in first, flex pool in second, ether mine in third. Last 14 days, mining pool hub in first, ether mine in second, flex pool in third. Last 7 days, ZET in first, nano pool in second, flex pool in third. For the last 3 days, ZET in first, flex pool in second, mining pool hub in third. And for the last day, ZET in first, Mining Pool Hub in second, Crazy Pool in third. Mining profitability for the ASIC miners. We have the Gold Shell KD6 still in first place, hanging in at $119 a day. If we scroll down, KD5's here, ET hash, we've talked about these. You want to be careful with the merge and what you would mine. Maybe Ethereum Classic's a possibility unless they switch algorithms, blah, blah, blah. Same old story. IB Link's still up there. And then other than that, really the only thing that would be surprising would be the Handshake miner at 1609 a day and the Z15 at 1542 a day. Other than that, we have to scroll down and snag the S19s, see where they're at. S19 Pros, what we look at every day. Still around that $15 mark a day after power. I did check BT Miners. You can check out the affiliate link down in the description for any sales, and there currently are no sales at this point. So, I say no sales, no updated sales from last week when we checked. So we're still looking at, the $2,000 X5. We're looking at the $10,500 for the S19 Pro. So on and so forth. We do have the What's miner at $3,800 US through BT Miners. Let's talk about supports from them. So we did have a miner die. If you guys don't recall, on last week we had essentially literally the day after I released the review for the Koi miner C16 Pro, it died. Fans shut off, no activity on the network, blah, blah, blah. It took till Saturday to get a scheduled appointment. Unfortunately, so I went to the farm. Nobody called me. The Zoom meeting never started. I didn't get any support. I called my contact. There was a mix-up, I guess, so they rescheduled me. I had the meeting with them yesterday. We confirmed it's the power supply, and they will be getting a power supply shipped to me. So if you guys aren't aware, basically the coin miners do have a year warranty. However, the replacement or the warranty process that I was doing was going through BT Miners. They've been pretty responsive as far as from from an ASIC supplier standpoint. They've been more responsive than other ones that I've dealt with. However, it's still slow, right? I would expect, and this is just being honest because they know they are a sponsor of the channel. They know who I am. I would have expected much quicker response. So it does make me a little worried about how other end users that do not have a YouTube channel, how that response would go. But from time of the miner being off till first meeting was from Wednesday to Sunday. And then I'll let you guys know how the rest of the process goes. I don't know if the power supply gets shipped from China or from New York or whatever that process would be. The miners themselves were in New York, so the shipping for that took like 2 days, which is incredibly quick. So your initial purchase is very quick. However, this process is going to be interesting. It's going to be good for a review. And you guys, I'll let you guys know exactly how all of that goes down. So let's go ahead and get into questions and comments from the chat. So as always, super chats are never required, always appreciated. Never required, always appreciated. If you tag at Son of a Tech, with the @ symbol, it'll turn the chat orange and I'll be able to read it better. So I have chat pulled up now. Let's get through some questions and answers and see how we're doing on this fine Monday. Detroit Iris says, at Son of a Tech, the 10-day confirmation on ETC wouldn't be that bad if you constantly mine it. Plus, once the ETH goes proof of stake and the ASIC switch over, it should significantly cut down on verification time. Yeah, except it completely stops you from... Okay. I hear what you're saying, but you also have to keep into account that it kind of discourages you from mining to a wallet, right? So you would prefer to mine to a hardware wallet or, you know, an off exchange wallet and then send it to the exchange. But it's more difficult in this particular case because of that, right? So I don't know. It's a little bit of it. I feel like it's still a problem. All right. Let's see. Yeah, as far as the spam, I don't know what's going on with that. Flux Watts. All right. Babelfish says, that Son of a Tech hit 5 gigahash last week. Thanks for the motivation. Congratulations, good sir, on hitting 5 gigahash. You're up with me now. Alex Dua says, at Son of a Tech, any input on CPU coin? I am doing RTM to a node for compounding returns and holding. However, any other coins make sense. I'm personally on Veriscoin, but I wouldn't say it's that profitable. Killyfish says, you forgot the pool profitability rundown. No, we already did it. We just did it. Henry New York says, that Son of a Tech, thoughts on buying a used 2080 Ti? All right, Knowledge World, you're banned. Peace out. All right. Doc Duggan says, we are mining Flux with the idea that a small increase in coin value will recover any loss in daily profit pretty quickly. This is a flawed concept, not financial advice. We are mining Flux with the idea that a small increase in coin value will recover any loss in daily profit. Is this a flawed concept? Yeah, so if you do the math, right? Like, okay. If you mine a certain amount of tradable value in Ethereum and you mine a certain amount of tradable value in Flux or whatever, and the Flux is less, you're dependent on the coin going up, right? But if you take the more money you're making, like let's say mining Ethereum, and you swap it for Flux because you made more on Ethereum, then you would have more Flux than if you just mined the Flux directly. Now, there's caveats to that. There's the renting NiceHash rental and spinning up and trying to snag a whole bunch of solo blocks. But do you see how, like, it doesn't really make sense to just, you basically, the idea is you mine the most profitable and you trade for what you think is going to go up or believe in or whatever that may be. Payme in Crypto says, at Son of a Tech, do you have a plan to stop at 400 amps at your new location, or do you know how many amps you can upgrade to? Yeah, we should be able to hit 600, no problem. That being said, I also got an interesting DM about flare gas in Midland, Texas, and I am going to be pursuing that, so I don't know what we'll do there. Batmern, thanks for the $5, says, I mined an ETC block to Coinbase yesterday and it got confirmed in a few hours. Yeah, and I think Coinbase is going to be the best option for Ethereum Classic. I think I already said that. But yeah, I agree with you. Thanks for letting us know it took a few hours. Definitely have to check it out. Crypto.com is not the way to go right now for Ethereum Classic. Daniel Ring says, Ask Tech, is the coin miner yours, or are you going to have to send it back? If so, how long do you have it? No, it's mine. Yeah, it's mine. Unfortunately, it sucks because it's broken. It is what it is. We'll see how the replacement on the power supply goes and see what goes on there. Tomek says, Ask Tech, sorry I came in late. Did you cover Ethereum Classic profitability? Yeah, it's like 50%. I'm basically making half of what I would on Ethereum on a pool. Jorge says, the halving is coming to flux. Will price go up as it tends to behave? You know, halvings really, really affect Bitcoin and the entire market when they happen to Bitcoin. On an individual level, sometimes they have initial pumps from the halving, but for the most part, we haven't actually seen it translate very well. So Ravencoin was the most recent, and it didn't really seem to break it out separate or decouple it from the market further. So no, it doesn't seem to be the case with most altcoins. Blacksmith Mining says, Ask Tech, hitting 7 gigahash a second soon and need to move out of my basement. Any advice on finding a warehouse? I feel like that's the fun part, which is there's so many different options, and the best bet, I think, from a power perspective, is finding something that has some sort of established industry, like a city that has an established industry, and start looking for warehouses in there. That way, at least for the commercial rate for your power, that's being negotiated on a much higher level than you would be able to negotiate on a smaller level. And that would be the only piece of advice that I really have at this point. Diego Bosca says, Ask Tech, what do you have behind Elon? Nothing. It's just a computer. Oh, Stupid says, Ask Tech, unrelated, but what games, if any, are you playing right now? Dude, I haven't been able to play any games. I haven't. I've been working a lot. Jacob says, Ask Tech, can you run a business electricity rate in your home if you install a second meter for mining? I don't know. Check your power company. I've never seen that be possible, though. Narman Jane says, Ask Tech, can you please name a few private wallet providers you recommend it? Use a paper wallet. Babblefish says, Ask Tech, can you use a server PSU to replace your coin miner PSU? No. Unfortunately not. Anonymous Miner says, Ask Tech, can I ask you to promote your Pool Ping International so everyone can find it? I'd have to validate it first, man. That's kind of the thing. Get me a report through Virus Total and all of that, and message me on either Twitter or Rocket Chat. Yeti Crap, thank you for the $20. Says, love the way the Friday chat went. I got up Sunday morning to discover I hit a block. Sorry I jumped on the bandwagon, but I saw an opportunity. Only 420 mega hash. So you can deposit pending crypto into crypto.com. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, I have the pending as well. I have like 3 pending or 4 payments pending. There was a weird one, actually. So I was going to show you guys that. I don't know where it came from. Oh, I think it was an Untitled block or something. We got this right here, which was 0.1 from the pool this morning. So I think we mined an Untitled block or something. How would I find that though? Yeah. So we ended up getting 2 uncles, which hurt. So in theory, right? So if these two wouldn't have been uncles, if those would have been full blocks, we would have been much better off. So we got 2 uncle blocks. So that's kind of, I mean, that's part of the luck too, right? So it's rough. Otherwise, we would have had, everything would have been looking a lot better. That would have been another 180. I still don't think it would have quite hit what we would have done on ETH on a deal. Digital Fortress Mining says, Tech, your local micro center has the tough 1660 supers for $16.29. You're going to grab 1 or 2 later. That sounds like a good deal. Nicholas Kane says, Tech, with more pools offering Bitcoin payouts when mining ETH, do you think this is so they can hold the ETH for the future for staking pools? I mean, it's only 2 miners right now, right? I don't know of any other there, Bitcoin. And then as far as that goes, my understanding is a lot of the pools do a swap process on the wallet. So they're actually swapping the ETH you made. So I don't think that they're hodling any ETH. But, you know, maybe. At that point, like I've said before, like the pools, the miners, anyone that decides to participate in Ethereum 2.0 for staking that was a miner or participated within mining, if they're a mining pool, they're going to have the advantage over everybody else, which is kind of hilarious because most of the arguments that are pro proof of stake come from people that don't hodl any Ethereum. Unless you get to the dev level, right? There's like the middle class of the miners, then there's like the top 1%. John Lemon says, Tech, when do you predict the next uptake in the market will be? I can only say that we have to wait for the next Bitcoin halving for like a typically, traditionally, in the past, guaranteed increase in price, which would be in 2 years. So what, is it 2025? Is that the next one? Bitcoin halving schedule. I think it's 2025. March 29th, 2024. 2 years. 2 years. Gandalf Gray says, Tech, I'm currently building my second rig with used 5700 XTs purchased for $10 a mega hash. Nice. Have only used NVIDIA till now. Any advice? It depends on the models. I mean, the 5700 XTs, I have a guide for you to flash them that will get your hash rate up to like 57 mega hash a second. Depending on the models, you know, some of them really need pads, like upgrade thermal pads, etc. So just kind of pay attention to that. Ravensburn says, Tech, what should I be doing with TON? Is there an exchange you can use? I already did a how to cashing out TON video. You can watch that. I'll link it for you. There's the cashing out TON coin video. Lucas says, Tech, a week ago you said profits are getting thin with a family to feed. Why cut profits and move to the ETC mining? So I already discussed that on Friday when we were looking at it. Unfortunately, a big problem that we ran into is that, like, if I wanted to do it, I probably should have done it and not done it on the live stream. But second to that, basically we have till, it was a timeline. I have till the 13th. essentially well, I had 3 days. Now we got to go back and mine it to pay the bills. But the mining farm, as always, has been specifically to mine and reinvest into the mining farm. The YouTube is what we use to try to cover everything else. Sometimes we have to pull out crypto, but that's preferably not what we do, hopefully. But, you know, we have had to, like, I think December was a really bad month for YouTube. And then last month was a really bad month for YouTube. But YouTube does about $5,000 a month, and that's what we live off of. And we should talk about that perception too a little bit, I guess. Because all right, how would we put this? You should hopefully have built up enough to live off of for a while, right? And when your margins are getting skinny, you have something to fall back on and then a little bit of time to figure out how to get those margins better, right? Okay, how would you explain this? The problem with most people in the United States is they work a job, they take their full paycheck, and they spend the whole fucking thing. I've been guilty of that as well. That's the way I lived most of my life. All right. Detroit Iris says, what is an uncle block? Oh, fun. I think we can do uncle block. But yes, I probably, from the perspective of trying to mine Ethereum Classic, it looked really good on Friday when we were looking at it. Unfortunately, I talked about it and I screwed myself over. That's really what it was. And like, that's the hard part about being a YouTuber for cryptocurrency right now, is if I want to share something to help everybody else out, I can. Like, it's the rabid mining Raptorium problem. Small coins, profitable, but if you talk about it, you screw it over for everybody else and yourself. I try to reiterate that, but there's no way around it. That's why you just gotta, like, I guess, pool mine. And once ETH goes proof of stake, I really don't know what happens, to be honest. I think it's screwed. I think it's all screwed for GPU mining. We'll just see what happens. All right, where is their definition of orphan? Here we go. Orphan blocks. As the name suggests, orphan is a child with no parent. In Bitcoin, an orphan block is a block that is not accepted or not part of the longest chain. It usually happens when 2 or more miners solve a block at the same or similar time. Just like any other blocks, orphan blocks are legitimate, verified, valid, and it was originally accepted by the network at one point of time. However, since they are no longer active and there is no known ancestor, they are rejected from the actual blockchain. Orphan block can also be called as a detached block, as it is segregated from the main network. So how does the network determine which block is valid and which is an orphan? A block that has a greater proof of work will get accepted, and the one with lower share of proof of work will be discarded. As a result, the miner that is responsible for the orphan block loses their reward. In the Bitcoin blockchain network, every day there will be a few blocks that will get orphaned. Also note that a blockchain network with more orphan blocks could potentially lead to dangers like we'll avoid that topic right now. Not quite that way. All right. Pay Me in Crypto, thanks for the $4.99. Says, what is the warehouse lease process like? What restrictions have they put on you? And did you have to search for someone to accept a mining operation? Yeah, so all of those things are going to be factors when you go in. You're going to have to talk to essentially whatever landlord you want to go in with. You know, you're going to have your EIN numbers ready, your DBAs ready, hopefully like your LLC stuff ready. You'll have to have a bank account, all this sort of stuff. So it can get a little bit difficult. For me, what I had to do is we have that office space. And so it's kind of weird. I was able to use one LLC's bank account, because the problem with crypto mining, especially when I was doing this, is that there's no banks that allow you to open up a business account if you say you're in cryptocurrency. So my business account is the YouTube channel under a separate LLC, rented with that one, but then you can have multiple LLCs as tenants. So all of the above, things get sketchy. You're going to need to talk to somebody that can help you through that, especially in your general area. It's going to be a lot easier if you can get a bank that's going to allow you to have a bank account for your LLC, but then also, you'll have to have all that information to get any kind of rentals out. Then, of course, there is the modifications to the building. In my case, I do it all through the landlord. This could be for you. You could negotiate to have your own electrician if you so choose. That's a little bit more difficult if you're in a rental situation. And then building modifications go along the same route. So ventilation. Now, when we were spinning up initially, pretty much had all the power put into place that I needed right off the bat. So paid for that and then moved on. Arga Gorn says, why don't you switch all your rigs to Octominer like other YouTubers, and how much do you pay per mega hash when buying GPUs at the moment? I'm not buying GPUs at the moment. I'm buying ASICs, which is really bit me in the butt because we talked about this, but $8,200 ASIC, not mining, not making any money. If an ASIC dies, it's the other downside of an ASIC. So it's not great. Yeah. Anonymous Miner, please use Virus Total. You can upload it and send me the report. Here, I'll get it for you. All right, let's keep going. Gala said, you tweeted about getting ETHO to make a video about it. Any hints? No hints right now. I really hate the exchanges ETHO is on. Makes it very hard to get any ETHO. I have a whole bunch of buy orders in, but the problem is when I go in, it's like, we're going to sell like $5 worth of ETHO at a decent price, and then you buy up a few of those, and then you hit the wall or whatever, and it's people way overcharging for it. So there's not enough liquidity of ETHO to really purchase enough for the things that I was trying to work on, which probably is the hint at that point of what I'm trying to work on. Even though it's not that, technically, if you looked at the price of any given time, it's technically not that expensive to do what I'm trying to do. But because nobody really uses the coin in exchanges, it's just really hard to buy. I'm trying not to lose money on purchasing it for a video, right? Voltaz says, ask Tech, my local micro center has dropped a GPU buying limits on AMD cards. Yes, I'm aware of that. We already talked about that. I even had said when that was going to stop, like a month ago. Arga Gorn asks a weird question. Why don't you switch all your rigs to Octominer like other YouTubers? Because Octominer's not sending me for free and they're expensive as all hell. JR says, at Summit can you BIOS mod a Dell 5700 XT? Yes, you can. You just strap the memory timings. I have a whole guide on that as well. Shoot that over. It's like I need to figure out how to make it more clear where all my stuff is. You can usually just search whatever GPU in my name and hopefully it'll come up, but here's the link to that with all the BIOS mods that you need to get done on the 5700 XT. Yeti Crab says, Ask Tech, could you cover the pool-in dashboard setup? You mined to it for a bit, but it seemed different than the ETH pool dashboards. You like NiceHash dashboard, but it's not as profitable. So if you're talking about, I don't know. Let me see. So I don't know what issues in particular you're having. I have to be careful here, though. Let me see. All right. So here's like Handshake or whatever. Well, how would we do this? I can't really do it that way because it would show that. There's something I specifically can't show that would, like, I guess be required. I had a guide on this already, though, actually. Merge mine, Dogecoin and Litecoin. This should cover it right here. I am me says at Summit Tech, which 5700 XTs are bad with OEM pads? The MSIs are bad. And it's not, I have a whole video on that too. I don't remember if it was the, no, it was the mech overclock, excuse me. And that's here. But the pads don't, they come from the, they were coming from the factory with the pads not fully covering the memory modules. And so you had to replace all the pads as soon as you got the MSI mech overclocks. The other ones that are bad are on the Asus. But there's pretty much no hope in fixing those. Those are just screwed no matter what. You're lucky to get 50 mega hash a second out of the Asus with memory timing straps. And that's because what they did is they did a separate heatsink on the memory modules, and then they put the heatsink for the cooler above it. But the heatsink over the memory modules isn't large enough, and it's not direct. It's not direct connected to the overall heatsink. So those Asus Challengers are really, really, really bad. Yeti crap. Okay, already did that one. Alex says, at Summit Tech, funny story. Power company came out randomly to replace my meter a month ago because it was overheating. They replaced the socket it plugs into. Happens when running 90% capacity. Yeah, be careful there, bro. Leonardo says, at Summit Tech, I see Ethereum has begun IP banning certain countries, and sadly, most of the Caribbean is locked out. That's quite sad. Actually, or Ethermine. Sorry. Ethermine is doing it now too. I didn't know this. I'm not seeing... I'm not seeing any reports of this. Oh, hold on. We had to do a couple things here. Oh, man. Thanks for making me aware. This is not good, guys. All right, so I guess we're going to cover this real quick. In more news, disappointing news within the cryptocurrency space, Ethermine is now banning and stopping service to Russian and Belarusian miners. Ethermine mining pool has stopped working with users from Russia and Belarus. So Bitfly, the company that owns Ethermine mining pool, has updated their user agreement, according to which the pool stops servicing Russia and Belarusian miners. As Bitfly explained, the decision was made in compliance with the law on combating money laundering and countering illegal finance transactions. The prerequisite was the military special operation of Russian troops in the east of Ukraine. The restrictive measures of Ethermine pool are, quote, aimed at complying with the sanctions requirements of regulators, end quote, so that Russian and Belarusian users cannot circumvent the sanctions of the U.S. government with the help of cryptocurrencies. Despite the policy update, Ethermine has not yet taken technical measures against users. Crazy Pool hasn't done it yet. I'm over there. Two Miners hasn't done it yet. But this feels like dominoes, bro. This feels like dominoes, bro. Last week, the Ethereum mining pool Flex Pool also stopped working with users from Russia, returning their funds to their wallets. We already knew that. However, not all cryptocurrency platforms are ready to immediately refuse to serve citizens of the Russian Federation. For example, today, March 4th, the CEO of crypto exchange Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, he wrote on Twitter that Russian oligarchs are unlikely to use cryptocurrencies to circumvent sanctions. Thanks to the openness and transparency of the blockchain, illegal transactions with cryptocurrencies are much easier to track than transactions in cash or other assets, Armstrong is sure. The head of Coinbase believes that everyone has the right to access basic financial services because after the fall of Russia ruble, ordinary users from Russian Federation use crypto assets as a lifeline, including users who do not support the actions of their government, as sanctions affect all citizens of the country. However, the head of Coinbase warns that if the U.S. government imposes a corresponding ban, the exchange will be forced to comply with it. According to him, any American company must comply with sanction laws, even if it works with cryptocurrencies. Recently, former U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton she called on Western trading platforms and cryptocurrency services to block transactions for Russians in order to isolate them from the cryptocurrency market. Some days this feels very sad. I mean, Coinbase, his statements are correct, but as he said, he will have to follow suit if the U.S. government forces him. Why are the mining pools? Why is Ethermine and FlexPool doing it without being forced to do it? Get off of those pools. And the problem is I know that nobody's going to listen to me because nobody listened to me on FlexPool and nobody's going to listen to me with Ethermine. And we're just going down the path of centralization, and we've completely just destroyed all of our hopes and dreams for financial autonomy. And I'm so fed up with it. Like, sometimes I just feel like not even doing this crap anymore because nobody values the fundamentals of crypto at all. They're just... What is it too? Isn't it like some of the highest? Yeah. 299 terahash a second. The problem is, because I've done mining pools before, you don't understand. Mining pools are by nature a first mover advantage. There is nearly zero chance to defeat something like Ethermine. Nearly zero. You can't do it. It is so difficult. It's ridiculous. Even just building an Ethereum mining pool at all is extremely difficult. Not to mention, we already have most of the large pools doing MEV, and the amount of advantage that you get to do MEV off chain. Look, Ethereum's screwed. There's nothing good about it anymore. Like, I'm stressed out. I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, VPNs get past it. The problem is not, can you get past it? The problem is not that. The problem is the public perception of what is acceptable and what is not acceptable in the terms of decentralization and centralization. This is a war. I've talked about it plenty of times. What we are seeing is the war between centralization and decentralization. We've already seen it being played out in media. We've already seen it being played out in Web 2.0 with the censoring of speech, and we're just seeing it play out in the financial market where they're going to force everybody to use CBDCs and tell you what you can and can't buy, at least in China. It'll eventually get here, though. And if we don't fight for this, and we don't say no, and we don't stand by the fundamentals and stand by the principles, it doesn't even matter. The rest of this doesn't matter. How much money you make doesn't matter. None of it matters. Oh, thanks for bringing that to my attention. I am supremely disappointed. I do have to go. I have to get some videos edited, and then it's my daughter's spring break, so I want to play some board games with her and stuff. All right, boys. I'm going to call it today. I didn't really want to end it on a bleh note, but it's kind of a bleh note. I'm going to get my farm switched over to Ethereum now. And probably get my flux switched over to a pool so I can be making some flux. I'm going to go to Crazy Pool for now until they make whatever announcements they make. And then, I know it seemed like Daniel Keller from Flux was against like the censorship that's going on with Ethereum mining pools. So maybe that's an option. Ergo's an option. I may just take a hit on profits. I'm going to go sit down and think about it. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to hit the like, comment, subscribe down below. Hit the notification bell so you're notified when we go live and when we post videos. We go live every Monday through Friday at 9:45 a.m. Central Time, 10:45 a.m. Eastern. And as far as the videos, we post about 3 videos a day at 2 p.m., 6 p.m., and 9 p.m. Central Time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Tuesday.